Hello everybody, in this video we talk about gaming hype, the hype culture. And if you ask me if I getting hype for certain games, well, less than it was, let's say 5 years ago. If you ask me 5 years ago, well, you will meet a different person. Back then, if a game looks something that I feel that I enjoy playing, I just pre-order it and just go and play it. And in actually many times, I was disappointed to some degree or another. And some of you probably can relate to it. Sometimes the need to play something new outweighs any critical thinking. That's what marketing and hype does to you. And it's not just in video games, by the way. That can lead to bad judgment. And of course, later on, if you find the game disappointing, to a big disappointment. And if you're talking about an exclusive game for a console, well, you know what I mean. I mean, I've seen people who got burned by games that I was so hyped about, spending probably maybe an hour or even more writing lengthy articles on Reddit, extrapolating every key gameplay mechanics and feature and just writing about it and sharing their disappointment with these specific features. Now, of course, we can understand why. It's actually good that other players warn you about something about the game, but sometimes we actually want to change something in the gaming industry. So developers are aware strongly about our disappointment. So just imagine you start with amazing enthusiasm and then you find yourself just spending an hour or more just trying to explain why the game is so disappointing. So maybe others won't make the same mistake. Now, nothing wrong basically when developers or publishers just promote their game, right? They want the game to reach as many players as possible. But problems start when there are some issues that are usually unreported, unchecked, and the developers know about it, but still releasing a game that just feels for players unfinished, or in worst cases, not playable. And we all know the trailers can be amazing. They're all directed perfectly to look amazing. And usually you find many trailers that actually packed many of the exciting things in the game while dropping all the other things that are, well, less exciting. This results in you actually thinking that the entire game is just absolutely amazing and how have all these things like even more presented in the trailer. But in some cases, as we know, this isn't the case. How many times you bought something, I don't know, from eBay, AliExpress, and it just looked amazing in the photos, and then you just hold it in your hand, it just felt like so cheap, and it just broke, I don't know, a few days after. Now, the thing is that I learned that even though some trailers can be bad, this isn't the opposite, a game can actually be good. Not always the marketing actually works in favor of the game. Sometimes even the trailer can be really bad, but the game can be very good. So it can work the opposite way around. Now, I also learned that until I play a game, I really can't know for sure if I'm gonna enjoy it. There's so many games that probably I would skip and not play, but I played it and I found it to be incredible. The reason for that, by the way, is because of services like Xbox Game Pass, which I am a subscriber to, that allows me to play many games for free because I'm a subscriber. I pay a subscription service each month and try them out. And then I realized there are some games that kind of what other calls hidden gems that you might skip, and maybe they have like a few reviews here and there, maybe dozens of reviews on Steam, for example, and you might find that, oh, I'm just going to skip the game, it's nothing interesting, just another indie game, and then you find out that it's absolutely an amazing game, probably one of the best that you played the entire year. Now, to be honest, for me, all these big website media reviews, I know this some people idolize them, but I personally don't. It's just another person's opinion. And in other way, I think that there's actually more chance for bias from those big websites than a user to just share, for example, their frustration or find the game mediocre and just sharing their opinion somewhere, even in a little forum somewhere. Now, something I did in the past, and again, that led to confirmation bias, is because, for example, sometimes you just search for, let's say Forbidden West, like Forbidden West bad, Forbidden West sucks. You eventually find somebody that will tell you that it sucks. Eventually, this will just confirm your thoughts because you just search for it and find somebody just writing about it or saying something about it. Some read reviews and kind of anticipate for a high score for the game they actually are a fan of. It's like being a fan of a football club or something, and if you hear something against it, you immediately react. But again, somebody who actually care about all that instead of caring about really if the game is good or not, probably doesn't worth your time reading their opinion. But trust me, there are tons of them out there, especially what's so-called fanboys, who just only want to hear what they want to hear. They don't care. Everything bad we say about the game, they'll just get enraged and be negative against you straight away. We've seen this in console wars, and we also see this in fans of games. It's more or less of the same. So I learned this from bad experience, and eventually become more mature in your approach when deciding which game to buy. Of course, you can, if you don't care about just buying a game and just maybe just stop playing after 1 hour and moving on, fine. We're good. You can buy every game if you like. Some have more budget restrictions and maybe other time restrictions that prevent them from just doing whatever they like and playing any game that they think about is going to be fun to play. And of course, there's a big criticism about that because many players don't want to support bad practices. For example, releasing a game prematurely, that if it's played like alpha or beta, lots of bugs and lots of issues. And we've seen that even for big companies, releasing games for platforms that just play so bad that even the developer just take the game out because of such very heavy negative criticism for their released game. And yeah, this happened. And this, what you see here is from GameInformer.com. Is Cyberpunk 2077 returns to PlayStation Store after being pulled last year. I'm just going to quote it. Shortly after the game's launch, Cyberpunk 2077 was pulled from the PlayStation Store back on December 17, 2020. The reason for the pull was the quality of the open world RPG was incredibly low compared to the PC version of the game. And let's remember, there wasn't any PlayStation 5, right? Or Xbox Series X back then. This was released on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And you probably ask yourself, how can such a big owned developer release a game in such a way, right? I mean, of course they were aware of it, right? That's the developer and running on a very dedicated hardware. It's not like you can really test and it's kind of a loss with other hardware configurations. These are fixed hardware components the developer was actually developing for. Now, this is, for example, from VG2047.com. The real cost of Cyberpunk 2077 refund is 51 million, not at 2.2 million. So again, there are big losses for the company. This is another one from ShakeNews.com. Cyberpunk 2077 update costs contribute to 45% drop in CD Projekt Q3 2021 net profit. Now, of course, this is an extreme case, but it just shows you that even a re-owned studio can do something like that, release an unfinished game in a very, very bad state and promote it, of course, like crazy, get many people, of course, super hyped, and then get in such situation. So actually, nobody is immune. So what you can do as a player not to actually get burned by this, is spending less time of being frustrated and internalizing it sometimes, or maybe just release it on social media, how frustrated you are because the game is such disappointment. Well, it happens so many times. Well, it's very hard for some not to pre-order or not to play it on day one. I know that, right? You want to get to the party and deal with everybody rather than wait for it like the game has no interest, right? Some actually feel that. Some just super excited to play the game in general. It don't even care about anything else. And some will actually get into a denial situation. So even if they play the game they really want to play and there are issues, they try to minimize it, ignore it, not care. But again, sometimes the issues are so bad that even those who are super hyped can just not ignore it. So basically the best thing, of course, is to wait for the early reviews and preferably for user reviews who play the game, and of course not to pre-order the game. Now, for those who don't really care and just say, I don't mind, just pre-ordered everything, and if it's not good, I'm just playing, well, why are you watching this video? It's not for you. So you can skip it. But for those who get burned and kind of being frustrated and don't want that to repeat again and want to learn from their bad experience or from other people's bad experiences, well, it's important to make sure that you're doing it right. Now, of course, developer knows how you think and they need to counter it with some smart marketing. So they put you, of course, something digital content that you get in most cases when you pre-order the game. And you are very tempted, you don't actually want to be left behind, and you pre-order the game because you want that item. Now, of course, there are refund policy that allows you to refund the game But again, this is before you download it or play it, so it really doesn't matter, right? This is a refined policy. If you start playing the game, basically in many situations, depends, right? On Steam, I think it's like 2 hours. You can actually refund the game. So on Steam, by the way, it's kind of a more forgiving. So if you're not satisfied, you can actually refund it. But in some other stores, you won't be able to. So if a specific store has kind of a more generous refund policy, so you can play the game maybe an hour or two and see if you like it or not, and if you don't like it, you can refund it, well, great. That's actually a good thing. And another thing, by the way, make sure that, for example, if there is a game that is available on another subscription service that you actually have, like Xbox Game Pass, maybe it's free there, so maybe you can just try it out. And you can also try maybe a trial. Maybe there's a demo, so make sure you pick up the demo. Maybe the demo is released for a very short period of time. Maybe there's open beta access. Maybe there's some ways to experience the game before you actually buy it. So maybe you're going to try it in the demo and say, I don't like this game, so you're just going to skip it. Now, in most situations, you won't find it. So it happened to me so many times. There are games that everybody's talking about, praising it. I played it. I found it so boring. It's unbelievable. Again, each one of us had their own taste, right? So, for example, Halo Infinite campaign, terrible. Terrible. All right? I play Horizon Zero Dawn. But of course, I can understand people loving Horizon Zero Dawn. I found it to be boring. But after that, I play, for example, God of War, and I find it to be epic. But again, each one of us has a different taste. But the most important thing is not that. It's just that you make a smart buying decision and just don't waste your money on games that you probably maybe stop playing or support companies releasing unfinished games. But I know you don't care about that. You only care about playing a game and have fun because you want to have fun. And you want to, we're waiting so much time to play a video game, right? Especially one of your favorite franchise that it doesn't matter what I say. You're still gonna buy it. I'm sorry, pre-order it. But if you do, don't blame anybody else. You pre-order the game, don't be proud of that. And if you get burned, well, don't blame everybody but yourself. Now, of course, everything it depends from person to person. Some don't mind waiting for example, Forbidden West to be on sale. Some maybe want to stream the game and they want to stream the game where it's, hyped the most so you get lots of viewers. Everybody has their own reason why they want to purchase a game at a specific time, or maybe a specific price. Some actually get the exclusive one. They want to get, for example, not on this particular game, but others, like maybe a specific mount that looks different, and they want to feel unique in the game, if something that others don't have. Everybody has their own reasons. Now keep in mind, both hype and smart buying decision can still live in the same thing and same place without actually affecting each other. But it's up to you. And there are many people and just get blind by it. Especially when you get closer and closer to release. Maybe you kind of have a judgment about the game, you're not sure. But the closer you get to release, you kind of feel, I need to buy the day one. It doesn't matter anymore. Those like several hours, maybe a day before, you just forget about something because that hype is kicking in very, very strong before the game is released. Now for me, for sequels, it's kind of easier. For example, with Forbidden West, I play Horizon Zero Dawn and I saw, of course, things. I tried to extrapolate the gameplay features, the gameplay mechanics and features and see see if I can, it's something that I wanted to be changed because I already played the previous one. So I know, well, if they change, fine. But for example, I didn't find the weapons exciting, finding new weapons. I heard about other reviews saying exactly that. There are so many weapons, nothing feel like great. You're going to find in 5 minutes something new. And some of the weapons that they play are those that start at the beginning of the game. And they say that maybe later on, you're going to find so many powerful weapons that anything in between won't actually be any good. Now, I personally prefer something a bit more progressive. I can find a really great weapon, legendary weapon, and maybe play with it more and work to improve it. Maybe kind of find unique attachment to it. There are other things that get me more excited about weapons compared to how it actually featured in Horizon Forbidden West. So what I do, I take that criticism and apply it to my own critical thinking about the game, what I know. But this is easier because I already played the previous game. But when it comes to new games, well, we don't really know, right? We don't really know. Sometimes, well, we need to play a game in order to know for sure if we enjoy it or not. And it happened to me so many times, by the way, especially previous year, especially because of Xbox Game Pass, that I play games that probably wouldn't touch, even some genres that I wouldn't even think that I like, but eventually I find it to be amazing games. So even then, you need to think that there are some really good games that you might think you don't like, won't like, but you might find it to be amazing games. Now, I know getting hype is great, getting super excited, but try not to get blind by it. Make a smart buying decision and don't support shady practices from some game developers. I know for many, the steeper prices now for console games might be very important, so some won't be able to buy maybe 3 games a year, and each game is very calculated. Some maybe even waited for many years to play a certain game, but they want to get disappointed, right? So you need to make a smart buying decision. So the thing is that take your time, try to read reviews, not just those of the media, by the way, for other user reviews. It's better to wait a bit, maybe a day or two, to read early reviews of players, see their opinion. That is the safest thing to do. But if you really can't make it, nothing I can do can help you. You're probably going to buy it day one. But if you can find a store that have good refund policies, that you can try it maybe an hour or two, see if you get into the game. I mean, if not, you can refund it and get the money back. That's fine. Other than that, again, make sure to search for maybe demos, early access to games that you're looking forward to play, and see if you can actually get there and play and see it for yourself. Try the best to try to taste the game and see if you like it, rather than just paying and see if you like it or not, basically. So this is it. Excitement about games is great, but just make sure it doesn't blind you. Make smart buying decisions and support good practices in the gaming industry. And regarding Forbidden West, again, I decided I won't jump into it. I decided to skip it. But again, it might be a good game. But until I play it, I won't know for sure. Right? See you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Cheers.